My name is Les Vail. I'm the President and CEO of the Gloucester County Chamber of Commerce, and it's my pleasure to be your Master of Ceremonies for this evening. And I want to welcome you to the 2017 Industry Summit presented by the Retail Hospitality Tourism Talent Network of South Jersey here at Stockton University. I am currently the chair of the TIP, Targeted Industry Partnership, for the Delaware Valley region, and we have contributed to the organization's mission by helping to build partnerships. And building the partnerships is such a strong part of what we are looking for the business community to do here. To gather the industry, to drive economic development through workforce development initiatives. I'm excited to be here today to show our continued support to the Talent Network. And on behalf of the Talent Network's director, Stacy Foreman, her staff, the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development, Stockton University, I would like to thank you for joining us. But as I said in the other room, I'd like to ask everybody to give Stacy and her staff a round of applause because they just do an amazing job. I mean, they truly go above and beyond each and every day to help the community here, to find jobs, to work with the business community as well as the community at large. You know, we'd like to begin with a brief presentation on the Talent Network and the Target Industry Partnerships. For those who have partnered with our organization and who have attended our quarterly meetings, you know, we thank you for your continued support. Can I ask those of you who have been to our quarterly meetings, raise your hand? For those of you who this is your first time being here, we'd like to thank you, and we hope we can make you a little bit more familiar with what the Target Industry Partnerships are doing. Those of you who are here for the first time, raise your hand. Stacy, Nadia, walk around, get their cards. Make sure we don't let them leave. But, you know, I think you're going to be in for an interesting afternoon. You're going to learn a little bit what the Talent Network is about and what they are doing to help drive jobs throughout the southern part of New Jersey here. But I'd like to introduce Stacy Foreman. Stacy Foreman is Director of the Retail Hospitality and Tourism Talent Network of South Jersey. She is responsible for gathering industry intelligence related to skills, competency, and certifications preferred by businesses to advise public workforce investments. Stacy brings over a decade of workforce development experience to this role. She previously worked as the Atlantic County Workforce Development Board as a contract administrator for WIOA, WFNJ, and Title II literacy programs. Under her direction, the Talent Network has extended its scope to include programs and curriculum development. She has a bachelor's degree in communications from Rowan University and a bachelor's degree in elementary education from Stockton University. She is a certified teacher and is currently pursuing her master's in instructional technology. I'd like to invite Stacy to come up to the stage here.
I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the contributions that my team members have made in putting together today's event, and for their hard work and dedication throughout the last year in assisting the Talent Network in developing employer-driven initiatives, really getting out there in the community, getting their hands dirty and getting involved. And so I would like to just publicly acknowledge them very quickly, and then we'll move on with the program. So I don't know if Lauren's here. Where'd Lauren go? I'd like to ask Lauren Haynes, who is the program assistant for the Talent Network, to please come up. And we have to get her, because she's still manning the table. There we go. So, I know I told you. And the newest addition to our team, and extremely valuable and been a great asset, our program coordinator, Nadia Rivera. I'll meet you halfway. All right, so we're gathered here today to share our experiences and for you to share your insight and expertise as industry professionals on the types of skills and competencies that you're looking for in your existing and future workforce, and also to give us a little bit of insight on where you think your industry is going, the trends and innovations that are occurring in industry, so that we can better prepare a workforce for you. So we have what are called targeted industry partnerships. They are groups that get together on a quarterly basis made up of industry professionals, educators, human resource professionals, community-based organizations, and we do exactly what we were just talking about. We gather your industry intelligence so that we can create programs that allow you to hire new employees that are highly skilled and qualified for those jobs, allow you to train your existing employees and give them the skills and competencies that allow them to create career pathways and advance within your organization. And we're also helping those individuals grow through economic mobility, which I think is so critical in the communities that we work and live in. So in the last 15 months, the targeted industry partnerships, and we have two of them that we're responsible for, the coastal region, which consists of Atlantic, Cape May, and Cumberland counties, and the Delaware River region, which is Burlington, Gloucester, Camden, and Salem. And then we share with our northern counterpart, who is here today with us, the central region. So in the past 15 months, these are the projects that have been developed through our targeted industry partnerships. I'm not going to go into detail, but I'm just going to list them. A beverage tourism career pathways program, retail information awareness professional certification program, a J-1 visa workforce solution project, a workforce transportation solution project for Cape May County, a youth opportunity collaborative in hospitality, industry crosswalks to advanced manufacturing, finance, and transportation logistics and distribution, an e-commerce project, an online adult high school program, a game-based learning customer service skills training program. We've worked on a small business cooperative, a supermarket apprenticeship model, digital literacy for mature workers, a server certification program, and a seamless employment project. So in 15 months, these are the projects that have been born from our targeted industry partnerships. These have been employer-driven, high-quality partnerships. These projects are under consideration by the Department of Labor. Some of them are in the process of being executed. But what an incredible opportunity to grow our future workforce by doing this kind of work. And so I would like to thank all of you in the room for your continued support. Thank you. So I'm going to ask that was really all that I have for tonight. I want us to spend the time listening to the panelists and getting to the workshops. And if you're interested in partnering and you have project ideas or you're dealing with workforce challenges, please see either myself or Nadia and Lauren, and we can connect you with the resources and community assets that are out there. Thank you so much for joining us.
If you have not had a chance yet to talk to Stacy or any of her team about how you can get involved in a target industry partnership, just follow up with exactly what she did. Please take a few moments out there. If this is your first time here, trying to get the business community engaged in this process is really what we're trying to drive. We want to bring every stakeholder together into the same room to really try to improve the quality of our workforce. Because when you look at economic development, where does it start? It starts with a region that has the right workforce. And if we can build the right workforce on all levels, then business wants to be here. And that's what we're driving here in South Jersey, and that's the intent of this. So if you haven't had an opportunity to speak with them, to learn a little bit more, I promise you this, it is not a heavy lift at all. It really isn't. But your input is going to be so valuable to what we're doing. And part of what we're going to do today is hearing from a great panel of experts. So I do want to thank Stacy for all that she has done, because next we're going to be tapping into some of South Jersey's best assets, with a panel of industry leaders and economic development professionals who are going to talk to you about their resources. And I'd like to introduce the panel before I introduce our moderator. We have Catherine Stargell from the Department of Labor. We have Jake Bagansky, the Executive Director from New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism. We have Margie Polari, Chief Economic Development Officer for Choose New Jersey. We have actually Dr. Ken Lacavaria will not be here today. In his place, I just had a complete brain fart. Michelle Bruner. You just have, all of a sudden, I've known Michelle for years, and I just had a complete brain fart. Michelle Bruner, economic development for the township of Mantua, who really was the driving force behind the fossil park there in Mantua. And then we have Howard Kyle from the Atlantic County Chief of Staff, Atlantic County Economic Development Alliance. So if I could ask our panelists to come up. And moderating this panel has been a great colleague and a friend of mine for many years, and it's my pleasure to introduce Deb DiLorenzo, who is the President and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce of Southern New Jersey. Deb is responsible for a full range of activities, including program work, organizational structure and procedurals, motivational, volunteer, finances, membership, staff, policy, and planning. Under Deb's direction, the Chamber has grown into the largest in the region and achieved special certifications and international best practices designations that has enabled the organization to excel. So I'd like to introduce Deb DiLorenzo.
The Chamber of Commerce Southern New Jersey is proud to serve as a sponsor for today's event, and it's a pleasure for me to moderate our panel discussion on South Jersey's assets, and I thank you all for attending. Our objective today with our time is to tap into the region's economic assets and what they mean for the future of our business community. Please join me in a warm round of applause for our panelists. By the way, as Les mentioned, Dr. Lacavero was not able to be with us, as Dr. Fichtner is also unable to be with us. However, we are really fortunate to have Michelle Bruner and Catherine Stargell in place of them. So ladies, thank you so much for being here. Catherine, Jake, Margie, Michelle, and Howard, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to participate on the panel. And again, we're very fortunate to feature some of the region's top industry leaders and economic development experts today. So what I'm going to do is just give a brief bio of all five, and then I'm going to get into a series of questions. And then once the questions are all answered, we're going to open the floor to questions for you. So our first panelist is Catherine Stargell, Esquire, Deputy Commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development. Catherine was named to this position in October of 2016, but has been with the department since 2012. In her current role, she oversees many of the department's program areas, including research and information, income security, labor standards, and safety enforcement. Our second panelist today is Jake Bugansky. Jake was recently appointed Executive Director of the New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism. In this role, he is charged with leading and promoting New Jersey's $44.1 billion travel and tourism industry. Jake is responsible for the state's travel trade development, tourism product development, visitor welcome services, and tourism industry outreach program. Our next panelist is Margie Polari, Chief Economic Development Officer with Choose New Jersey, Inc., an independently funded organization whose mission is to encourage and nurture economic growth throughout New Jersey with a focus on urban centers. She is responsible for overseeing all lead generation and business development activities, including prospect management. Prior to joining Choose, Margie served for more than 25 years at the New Jersey EDA. Our fourth panelist is Michelle Bruner, Mantua Township Economic Development Coordinator and Municipal Liaison to the Gene and Rick Edelman Fossil Park of Rowan University. Michelle has more than 15 years of experience working in the area of economic development. She began working with Dr. Lacavera, the founding dean of the School of Earth and Environment at Rowan and the director of the Gene and Rick Edelman Fossil Park back in 2012 to explore ways to protect and secure the redevelopment project site in Mantua Township for future science and educational purposes. Their work has allowed for thousands of fossils to be recovered from the quarry. And our final panelist today has more than 30 years of experience in the area of public policy and public administration. Howard Kyle currently serves as the Chief of Staff to Atlantic County Executive Dennis Levinson. Howard has played a leading role in issues pertaining to economic development, education, land use, tourism, workforce development, and human services throughout Atlantic County. Let's give our panelists another round of applause before getting started. And on a personal note, I've had the opportunity and pleasure to work with each of these fine public servants, and I'm really happy to have them all together on this panel. Okay, so now panelists, this is for you. We have 4 minutes to spend on each topic. So I will direct a question to one of you, then you'll answer it, and then hopefully there's time left over of that 4 minutes so the other panelists can join in. And for time's sake, we'll hold all questions from the audience until all of our questions have been answered. Okay, Catherine.
Sure.
You are up first, young lady.
All right.
So we have heard a lot about New Jersey's goal to increase the number of adults in the state who have earned an industry-valued credential or degree known as 65 by 2025. Can you talk to us about what this means to the business owners and managers in the room? In other words, how will it benefit our guests here?
Well, thank you very much, Deborah. I'm wondering if Aaron asked you to start off with that question, because certainly 65 by 2025 is on his mind every minute of every day right now. The governor was kind enough to see the value in this initiative that is a collaboration between Labor, the Department of Education, as well as the Office of Secretary of Higher Ed, and all of our partners to increase, really, the value of our workforce. I mean, that's the bottom line. Presently, New Jersey has 50% of all adults with post-secondary credentials or degree in the state. How much more valuable would we be to existing companies in the state, as well as attracting businesses to New Jersey, if we could really say with all confidence 65% of our adult population, they're trained, they're educated. And we are about the 40th state to adopt a credential attainment goal, and some folks thought that maybe we should not, maybe we didn't need to, because you've probably all heard that New Jersey is, you know, a highly educated workforce. But guess what? We stay in front of the curve, above the curve, by continuing to have our workforce educated and trained. And some of the things that we are requiring of programs that will fall under this initiative in the future is that any occupational credential, I'm looking at the Camden County Workforce Development Board Director, our training requirement is that these credentials, occupational training credentials, actually have college credits attached to them. We're hoping that more high schools and county colleges, and maybe even four-year universities, have articulation agreements or programs so that they're all linked. We want to ensure career pathways. We don't want our workforce to just get a job. We want them to start, maybe get a job, then get some training that maybe is tied to college credit so that they can advance in their companies, in the industry, because all of that pushes our economy forward. And so we're very excited. We're about to have, if I could put a plug in, a summit in September. I'm hesitant to give the date at this time because it's been changed recently, I think. But we really want to bring all of our business partners, our education partners, our faith-based and community organization partners together so that we can all move forward in pushing this initiative. Honestly, if your neighbors become more educated, guess what? They're moving along in their careers, they're fixing up their houses, the businesses they work for are thriving. It helps all of us. It only makes good business sense. And if we can help individuals, you know, progress in their careers and have sustainable wages, it's great business.
Thank you, Catherine. Anybody else on the panel want to provide any input on this? Yeah, go ahead,
I'll just
Margie.
add to that you can be more on track with, you know, with the program, and to particularly note, yeah, it's great. We need highly educated employees, but we also need certified occupation skilled workers. We work with businesses all the time, and we help them and direct them to talent networks and to workforce development groups to help with placing them. But there is always, you know, there's this whole group of jobs that we need that are in that skilled area that we don't have. We have we have very educated and we have high school graduates or below, and that whole area in between is missing really in New Jersey, and very important if we're going to attract the types of businesses that need advanced manufacturing, more technology type jobs that really don't require a four-year degree, just require training and certification.
Exactly, Marjorie. And that's exactly why it's credentials to degree. Because a lot of people can't wait 4 years to get a degree, right? They need a job now. However, we have a lot of businesses that need specialized training and industry-valued credentials for their work force. And in fact, recently, we have identified about 160 industry-valued credentials based on feedback from businesses and other partners. And we market those to really our training providers. We are trying to direct our investments to those training providers that are training to those industry-valued credentials. Because not very long ago, we used to train and pray, right? Someone would become unemployed, they would go into a one-stop career center, and they would want to be trained in whatever they wanted to be trained in, right? And assuming it was, the occupation was on the in-demand list, which is pretty broad, we would write a check and they could go get training. Actually, Jeff would write a check in Camden and they would go get trained. Well, now we're trying to make those efforts, funnel those investments so that they are very focused to what the business community needs. Because, everyone can't be a truck driver. And guess what? You need 2 years experience before you really can get a full-time job as a truck driver, right? So no longer are we interested in training to those oversaturated occupations, and also to credentials that are not valued by the business community.
Thank you, Catherine. Okay, Jake, you're next. Now, I have 2 questions to ask you, but I see that time is kind of getting away from us, so I'm going to combine them. To put my peepers on first. Okay, so what role does tourism have in economic development, and what are the Division of Travel and Tourism's plan for the future of economic development in South Jersey and the state at large?
All right, so in the tourism industry, which gets misunderstood a lot, and we're happy to take any opportunity to help explain what it is that we're talking about when we are talking about tourism and how it does fit into economic development. But one of the places that it's a great fit is that when these folks are working toward these credentials or these certifications, that we've got plenty of jobs for them in the tourism industry to keep them working while they're working toward those. So these can be either entry-level positions into management roles within those tourism-related businesses, or they could just be a path to a career in the tourism industry in general that doesn't necessarily need any additional education. There are really some great jobs in the tourism industry that get overlooked because they don't factor in tipping and things like that. A bartender at the Borgata in Atlantic City is a very well-paying job that doesn't necessarily register as a great job in most studies, but we really have a lot to talk about when it comes to where tourism fits into economic development. So tourism really is the front door to economic development. Anytime anybody experiences an area for the first time, they're experiencing the tourism industry, and the tourism industry is what creates the identity for any given region. So whether it's folks visiting in the traditional sense of tourism, or whether it's somebody who's looking to relocate a business to the area, or whether it's a worker who is potentially considering a move to the area for work, they're all experiencing the tourism industry the first time that they're here. So really having a strong identity, a strong tourism industry, a welcoming place is so important to every other aspect of the economy. So like Deb mentioned, tourism is a $44.1 billion industry in the state. That includes over 500,000 jobs, 517,000 jobs, which makes it the 6th largest employer in the state. And we're up from 7th, where we had been for a little while, but it's still down from our high water mark of the 2nd largest employer in the state. So we're working our way back toward that. We've had some challenges between the recession, which affects the tourism industry hardest and first, which happened across the board in every state, which, as everyone else was recovering from, we had to deal with the effects of Superstorm Sandy. So we've had this double whammy in the state where we're really just now getting to the point where we're having an opportunity to reestablish what tourism can mean within the state. And I think that movement as the 6th largest employer in the state is one indicator that we're moving in the right direction. So tourism is a little bit amorphous and difficult to understand, but what we're talking about when we're talking about tourism is not just the total of all of the hotels, restaurants, attractions, and just adding those numbers up and taking credit for them. Because I think that that's what some people think when we're talking about tourism. But there really is a mechanism to determine what we're talking about when we're talking about this industry. So the United Nations actually has developed a standard called satellite account that recognizes economic activity that is not part of a typical industry for various countries. And so that's been adopted by most states in the country at this point, the tourism satellite account that identifies within different sectors, within the hotel industry, within the restaurant industry, within the retail industry, what portion of those economies is tourism related. So when you start to think about it that way, when you can identify that 30% of the restaurant business in a given place is directly related to tourism, then think about what would happen if those visitors stopped coming, then you can really start to understand what the impact of tourism is on the economy. So that's just a first little step into thinking about how this works and giving it a little bit more thought and thinking about it a little bit more in depth than I think we have here in the past. But just to wrap all that up, there was a woman named Mara Gast who runs the Irvine, Texas Convention and Visitors Bureau. She just joined us last week for the 6th of 6 workshops that we did throughout the state as part of a program called Destination Next, which is one of the programs that we're working on for the future of tourism in the state. And that really identifies how well developed the state is in terms of the tourism assets that we have and also how much buy-in we have in the community for tourism. So Mara was pinch hitting for the standard facilitator that we have, but we were glad to have her because she came up with this destination management cycle that has really become a really valuable tool for us in the industry because it really articulates where tourism fits into economic development. So it starts when you build a place that people want to visit, you have a place where people want to live. When you have a place where people want to live, you have a place where people want to work. When you have a place where people want to work, you have a place where business needs to be. When you have a place where business needs to be, you have a place that people want to visit. So you can see that you can kind of enter that cycle at any point, but tourism is always going to play a role, and you're always going to be working toward that end goal of really creating a great place to live, work, and play, and tourism is what creates that identity.
Thank you, Jake. Does anybody want to comment? Howard?
Yeah, just in Atlantic County, I just would build on what he's saying. In Atlantic County, we've identified tourism as one of our 5 strategic industries. And what we've realized is that tourism in and of itself is important to our economy. It's a $6.8 billion industry in Atlantic County. We're the only, I think Cape May is 6.2. We're the largest tourism economy in the state right now. And the challenge is that tourism in and of itself is not enough to really sustain and move the economy. It's important. I don't want to downplay it. We want to sponsor it and we want to build it. But tourism, to really get the maximum value out of it, has to be integrated into an overall economic strategy. So you can actually build upon that. Just a little statistic. In 1976, the per capita income in Atlantic County was, median income in Atlantic County was $7,492, which was 95% of the state median income. In 2016, it was way down to 73% of the state income, and even though we had one of the largest tourism economies. The reason is that we lost the economic diversity that we used to have prior to casinos, when we had Schulten Industries here, Lennox China, Prudential Insurance had a major corporate office here, Western Section Wheaton Industries, Patriot Windows, Whitehall Labs, all of those are gone. And we're left largely with the tourism industry. When our economic consultant came in and he looked at Atlantic County, he found that we had a dangerous over-reliance on one sector of the economy, and he really counseled us to expand that. And that's where we're putting a lot of our efforts into diversifying the economy and incorporating tourism into that.
And Howard, you're going to address that when I come to you for your question. Okay, very good. Okay, very good. Margie, you're next up. What initiatives are in the works to keep New Jersey's businesses, current businesses here in New Jersey?
Okay, as you may know, or I'll explain it, Choose New Jersey is part of what's called a Partnership for Action. It's run by the Lieutenant Governor of the state, Kim Godogno, and under her is Choose New Jersey in the business attraction and marketing side. We have We have the Business Action Center, who's focused on business retention and business advocacy. Lauren Moore is here. He used to run the Business Action Center, and now he's with Atlantic County, so lucky for them. What they really focus a lot on business retention. We help them when needed and necessary, but it really involves consistent and regular outreach to businesses in New Jersey to really make sure they know that you're there and that you're listening to them. It's business advocacy that the Business Action Center provides in terms of helping businesses with permitting, zoning, and any other issues that they may run into as they either run their business, try to expand their business, and also as they're looking for places to locate. Because if you know them and they know that they have you as a relationship manager, they're more willing to reach out to you when they are looking for another location, perhaps out of state, so that we at least have a seat at the table and we can put our best foot forward for them. So in addition to that, there have been several initiatives over the past few years that have been instituted. One of them is the single sales factor, which is a reform of the allocation of corporate business tax and how you look at that. And what it really did is lowered corporate business tax for a lot of businesses in the state of New Jersey. So that helped a little bit. And also, too, the Grow New Jersey program. It's a tax incentive program that has been in effect since 2013. I believe they have over 200 applications approved, over $3 billion worth of tax incentives. And the great news about that program for South Jersey is that the 8 southern counties are able to have a boost in the scoring formula, so they'll actually receive more, recognizing that we need to focus on our southern part of the state and make sure we grow businesses there. So overall, the message is often and frequent contact, and really trying to help them. And sometimes that makes all the difference in the world for a business that's here.
Thank you, Margie. Now can you address what Choose is doing on a national and international level to encourage businesses to relocate to New Jersey?
Yes, we're exhausted by that. So we have a very proactive lead generation strategy, both domestic and international. So what we're doing, we've integrated business development and marketing so that we're targeting 5 sectors of industry that we think are important to New Jersey, and that is life sciences, manufacturing, logistics and distribution, which is a huge industry for New Jersey, technology, and financial services. And within those sectors of industry, there are several subsectors that are very important. Food has been a very important sector of industry for New Jersey. So we've spent a lot of time both in marketing and branding and in business development there, and also medical devices and fintech, financial services technology. So what we do is based around those sectors of industry that we're focused on. We've been attending trade shows, conferences, doing proactive lead generation in states and countries that we know are strong in those industries. So we know that Massachusetts and California are big for life sciences, so we've been there talking to businesses and really target marketing them to attract them to New Jersey, to say, hey, look, you can go to Massachusetts, but you're going to pay almost double the amount for your rent in Cambridge. You can come here to New Jersey. You can commercialize here, which they do a lot of R&D over there, but they don't really do a lot of commercialization. So, we're really trying to target the message to the industries. We also do a lot of work in New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, our surrounding areas, because we know that businesses are often looking to move over state lines. We're in countries like Germany. We're going to an air tech conference, which is focused on the aerospace and defense industry's supply chain. And this is a very important industry, both for Atlantic County and for Cape May County. So we'll be targeting marketing and messaging at that show, trying to bring companies that are part of that supply chain. We're in Italy for food, obviously, and Israel for technology and cybersecurity, the UK and Canada for life sciences and fintech. And so, we go to shows and we go to, and we meet with professionals that are surround that industry, build relationships and networks, and we found that has been a really successful model for us in terms of referrals from companies that are looking to be here. The U.S. is an very much in demand. Businesses really want to be here. So we try to leverage those relationships. We work a lot with Select USA, which is the U.S. government's foreign direct investment organization. And, so we just try to keep the lines of communication open and friendly and try to help them in any way possible, whether it's site selection, helping them find workforce, referring them to the Department of Labor, to the talent networks and workforce development centers. It can be anything. It can be, help put them in touch with distributors who can distribute their product. Sometimes they like to joint venture with companies, and so sometimes it's finding them a partner. So it's all types of assistance. One of our associates that works with companies actually was trying to help a business, a pharma company from Italy, actually find apartments and schools for their kids. So, it's just everything soup to nuts to make sure that they're happy and that they choose New Jersey as the location.
Thank you, Margie. Does anybody else on the panel have any input for this question?
I just wanted to say that as a municipality, working with redevelopment projects and businesses coming in, and we're working with the South Jersey Tech Park, exactly what you said today is exactly what municipalities are feeling, that there is a source to go to in the state government and other agencies to give guidance to these companies that are coming from international sources. So thank you for your assistance in that effort.
Thank you.
Howard, did you have something you wanted to say? Oh, okay. Michelle, thank you for saying that, and it's a perfect lead-in to what does the Rowan Fossil Park mean to South Jersey's tourism industry?
It means buckle up, because you're in for an exciting ride. From 2012, I've been working with Dr. Lacavera at the now newly known Gene and Rick Edelman Fossil Park at Rowan University in Mantua Township. So we had begun our first ever Community Dig Day event in September. Really, it was October of 2012. First time ever opening our doors, creating an event environment where people could come in, learn about the site, why there's 65 million-year-old fossils discovered there, where they're at. They can actually see the fossils that came right out of South Jersey's dirt. And then we, opened the doors and we had 1,000 people. And parking all over the place, and cars, the police officers were calling us from the road saying, we have a car from Virginia and Delaware and Pennsylvania and Vermont, and it became this amazing experience where we were really from the ground up learning what tourism could be at this particular project area. I represent the Rowan University Fossil Park. Again, with the $25 million donation from the Edelman family, it's now the Gene and Rick Edelman Fossil Park at Rowan University. So we're excited about what's coming. And think about this, within under a 5-year period, working with Dr. Lacavera and myself and the team and hundreds of volunteers and leverage resource partners that some are in this room, Les and Jake have been involved in this process. We have had over 20,000 guests come to this site from all over the world. We recently just had somebody from England here last week. He took his vacation to come in to experience the fossil park for the week. Had to go to a hotel to stay, had to eat in our restaurants, had to visit our stores. So truly from the bottom of my heart and our efforts in economic development with Rowan University as the lead scientific educator at this site, we are making an economic development and tourist impact even now. But what's coming? $25 million project bringing a museum, facilities, restaurants, cafe, educational classrooms, campground, nature trails, you name it. We are in the thick of it right now developing this concept with Rowan University to allow this amazing experience to occur for all of you. So if you haven't heard about the Fossil Park, I left a brochure over there that you can certainly grab. You can certainly give me your card before I leave, and I'll make sure you personally get invited as a VIP guest to the Fossil Park to experience tourism firsthand. Some of the panels have already talked about how tourism is not just tourism. It impacts the economy, and you have to have a larger, broader approach for it. Rowan University is currently in the thick of it right now doing a marketing and feasibility study on the Edelman Fossil Park, the new facility, how big should it be, what is our draw, the impact in the region, the impact in the state, the impact in the United States, and the global impact. This will, in fact, be a destination for the world, the only site in the world at this time that has access to when the time period of the dinosaurs went extinct. It's amazing. I could sit here and talk to you for hours about it, but I just wanted to let you know on behalf of Dr. Lacavera, Dr. Ullman, Dr. Vogel, all of our team of folks that represent the Fossil Park, President Ali Hushman from Rowan University, we are excited. We are here to provide you this amazing experience, and we are ready to pump up the economy. So thank you for your time today.
Michelle, that's great. Just real quick, what's the timeline? Any ideas for when the, I guess, visitor center will be online for people to use?
Yes, we hope that construction will start within a 3-year period, and that's basically, there is an internal timeline with the donation that was received by the university. So the goal is that by the end of this summer, early September, that the marketing feasibility study results will be available for the Rowan University Board of Trustees. That will then dictate additional meetings, additional conversation about actually developing the conceptual plans for the project.
Excellent. Anybody on the panel want to say, do you have anything to say about the fossil park?
I just wanted to add that, in tourism right now, product development is really the name of the game. For years, the way that people approached tourism was to try to fill up hotel rooms. They did that with meetings and conventions, and the traditional destinations are what drew people. This is the type of thing that needs to be happening now because people are looking for new experiences, authentic experiences, even within traditional tourism destinations. People have been there and done that, so they need something new and exciting to compel them to come to a place. So, I mean, we're very lucky that these dinosaurs decided to die here because you can't build this just anywhere. But this is a great example of developing a tourism product that really is going to draw people from all over the world.
And just to add to that, the Township of Mansfield worked with Rowan University to transfer the acquisition of the property to the university, and that was only January of 2016. So from 2012 to 2016 till today, so under 5 years, we're getting ready to have our 6th annual Community Dig Day event. It draws in 2,500 guests, and only because that's how much we can fit in one small 65-acre parcel with minimal parking. We have thousands that are on the waiting list for school tour digs that we offer the local school districts that come out of state, in-state. And when we put up the Community Dig Day event, it sells out in under 10 minutes. So we know the thirst and hunger are there. We know that this site will draw not only all the industries that you're talking about today, hotels, restaurants, retail, you name it. And so remember, too, that 4-year period, it was on a $0 budget. It was just through the love and support of our Leverage Resource team members. So now we have Rowan University, $25 million, a lot of fun that's coming our way, a lot of studies. We're going to do this well, we're going to do it right, and you guys will all benefit as members of our community.
Thanks, Michelle. Good luck with that. Congratulations. Okay, Howard, we do have a 3-part question for you, but it looks like we're running out of time. So I'm going to take the purview of the moderator and ask you to speak about the last question, and that's Atlantic County's economic development strategy. Can you share with our audience what's going on? Beautiful.
Right. We had started out about 3 years ago on an effort to actually revamp the entire economy of Atlantic County because we realized that we were having some issues. As you know, the conventional wisdom is that Atlantic County, which was leading the nation in home foreclosures, high unemployment, high underemployment, a lot of challenges. The conventional wisdom was that this was occurring because of something Atlantic City did or didn't do. All the blame was being placed on Atlantic City, and that, quite frankly, was a bit unfair. The reality was that we were experiencing the economic challenges that we were experiencing simply because we failed to diversify the economy. And we had to go back and start off a pattern of trying to correct that. In the course of doing that, we retained a consultant, Angelo Economics, very nationally recognized firm, and they compiled the Atlantic County Economic Development Strategy, and we've been in the process of implementing that. One of the things that was lacking in Atlantic County was an entity to take a leading role in economic development. And the Atlantic County Economic Alliance was created a little over a year ago, specifically for that purpose. So for the first time in Atlantic County, we have an entity solely and singularly focused on retaining businesses here, growing businesses here, and most important, attracting new businesses here. As was mentioned, we retained Lauren Moore to be our executive director. We had almost a year-long search before we arrived with Lauren, and he turned out to be the optimal candidate, largely because of his familiarity with all the state incentive programs and also the fact that he had served as planning director in Atlantic County prior to that in the 1990s. In all, we identified 5 strategic industries. As I mentioned, the traditional one of tourism and hospitality, that's one. The second one is aviation and avionics, very important industry. I'll try to get back to that real quickly. Light manufacturing, specialty manufacturing, entrepreneurship, and life sciences. The area that our consultants said offered the most opportunity in the shortest period of time was in the realm of aviation. As you know, we've been working with Stockton University and forming the Stockton Aviation Research and Technology Park. The first building of that is under construction right now. We've retained a leasing consultant to help us fill that building. We're getting very strong interest from people in the aviation community. And our purpose in building that, the county took a leading role by underwriting the debt on that building. And the reason we did that is we know we had to change the status quo. We had to get a new industry going. And our goal is not to build a research park as an end in itself. We don't see that as the end. Our goal is to get an aviation industry going in Atlantic County. And to that end, we're working with the South Jersey Transportation Authority on getting a maintenance and repair operation out of the airport. Talk about economic development assets. The airport is probably the most underused economic development asset in the county. The real economic development potential of the airport is not so much in passenger transportation. That's a long way from getting to where it should be, but in using it as a maintenance and repair base for airlines and air cargo. We are working aggressively in that area, especially in the air cargo area. Some promising things are happening in that. I can't go into them right now, but hopefully you'll be hearing more about that shortly. The maintenance and repair operation ties into what you were talking about certified training earlier. When people look at the airport, they realize that it is a tremendous asset in that it has a 10,000-foot runway. Planes coming in with thruster problems or flap problems need the extra space, and also larger aircraft, such as the 777s that are coming on, need a longer runway, and existing repair operations don't have that. Number 2, very easy to get in and out of the Atlantic City Airport. Number 3, very inexpensive to get in and out of the Atlantic City Airport. Number 4, in airline terms, the airport is right next door. Philadelphia, LaGuardia, New York, Baltimore, Washington. Airline terms, it's a 30-minute flight. That's really conveniently located. The challenge is, challenge number 1, you talk to a company that specializes in this, they like the area, they see the promise here, they have jobs that are in a demand occupation, airframe and power plant mechanics, 18-month certification program, can start out at $45,000 and more, and within a few years be up to the $100,000 range, right? The difficulty is we don't have the workforce here. What we're trying to do right now is working aggressively with Atlantic Cape Community College to start a program to train aircraft mechanics. And that's moving, and that's advancing very quickly. Do I have more time, or
You have 0. You're out of
Zero?
time, but you did a great job.
Thank you.
Okay, only so that we can stay on time for the panels that succeed us. Let's have a round of applause for our group. We have a couple of minutes for questions, and Nadia has a mic. So if you have a question, please raise your hand and wait for the mic.
Actually, one final thing.
We have no
Can I
questions?
just say one final thing?
Yes.
Required reading. South Jersey Economic Review, Dr. Oliver Cook, he doesn't happen to be here today, is he? No? Atlantic City, the Atlantic City's redevelopment, digging out from the lost decade. Really important what he outlines in there. He outlines some of what we said here about diversification and so forth. Really good reading. You get it online, and I think you should look at Dr. Cook a little more carefully in the future.
Howard, where can everyone get that online? At the county's website?
You can get it if you just do South Jersey Economic Review.
Okay.
It'll take you to that link.
Okay. Last call for questions? Thank you, guys. You did a wonderful job. Thank you so much. This concludes the first panel for today's event.